Thank you so much for joining me. I mean, I came across you, found you on Twitter and all the other things, and your message really resonated with me. And I feel that it's something that we need to share with people so they understand that somebody who's 42 got caught into this, that the damage they're doing to the children. But tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, my story is not unlike most stories. At 42, I was kind of in a vulnerable place. I have always been kind of a dominant person in everything that I've ever done. And I was married to a woman that used to say over the years, you know, you do that just like a man. You were born in the wrong body. Or my sister would say, you know what, you're the perfect husband. Although I didn't look or I wasn't butch, I had that really dominant personality. And I came to a vulnerable place in my life, you know, watching Jazz Jennings and all that kind of stuff. And casually I said, God, I wonder if I'm born in the wrong body. And within a couple of days, I was sitting in front of a trans woman. And one of the first things that she said to me was, well, how long have you been dressing like a man? And trust me, I mean, I had a female business, so you can't be super butch and be an executive. You just can't. And but that sentence at that time just absolutely shattered me into the idea of total and complete mortification that I was born in the wrong body and I didn't know it. And everybody knew it but me. So it was kind of horrible for, you know, a couple of weeks thinking, man, I'm kind of stupid. And then after that, I started to kind of change my life from what it would have been like if I was born a boy, then a girl. My father played professional sports. I probably would have played professional sports if I was a man. I probably would have done all these things. I would have been lifted on whatever platform that people say they want in a boy. I was athletic, you know, just all that stuff. And so as I go through all those challenges in my life, you know, being gay, dealing with that, never wanting to do that, I thought, well, God, maybe I am born in the wrong body. And it was at that moment that nobody could take that away from me. That's how I started to transition.
Worrying about that moment is that a lot of young people are sort of saying, oh, well, maybe I'm in the wrong body, and they're young. So they may be teenagers, they may be, you know, prepubescent, and they're going through that. And then adults are kind of verifying and sort of giving them the feeling that maybe they are, and then starting the process. So this started you on a process. And what was the first thing that you did in that process when you felt, okay, that when you'd heard that and it resonated with you, you thought, right, what was the first thing you did?
Well, it was God, within a couple of weeks I was on hormones, and the doctor said something to me that I probably should have paid attention to, but I was in that idea that, hey, I get to fit, you know, I don't have to be a lesbian. I don't have to. The first thing people say to me is, why are you a lesbian? You know, you're a decent looking woman. You can get a man. I mean, your whole life is surrounded by that. And I thought, God, maybe that will make that go away. And so from that point, the doctor told me that, hey, we really don't know how much hormones to give you. We don't know. It's never been studied. We do have to give you massive amounts to kind of basically turn down your estrogen and then turn up your testosterone so you have a testosterone-driven body. So we're not giving kids just a little bit of testosterone. I mean, they have to give like 3 times more to kids that are suicidal. And it just keeps going down from there. So you said in the beginning that I almost died from medical transition, and I did. And it puts me in a very, very different situation with the fact that I have 3 kids that are at the age that these children are thinking that they're transgender, on top of doing it, on top of researching it and trying to save my own life. And here's the thing that is very, very interesting to me. And that is there are only 7 studies that say the medicalization of children is beneficial. And every single one of them has been retracted with, oops, we're sorry, doesn't work, or not enough time to say if it's beneficial or not. Now, we do have one long-term study, and that study tells us that us trans are most suicidal, not before, after 7 to 10 years, because it's a process, right? You get that, oh, I get to fit in, and then when you get to the done, and you don't have anything else to do, you kind of look left and right and go, well, that didn't help. And then you have to go, hey, I still have to work on the inside. And that's why these kids are so insistent. It's because they are different. And that's what I would tell parents. Any child that says that they're transgender, first of all, transgender is cosmetic surgery. It doesn't fix anything. All the studies say it makes mental health worse. The health complications are absolutely they're astronomical. They're finding that girls' spines aren't fusing together, early onset osteoporosis, for a process that actually makes mental health worse. Sometimes just sitting in my office, I just look and I just think there's going to be somebody that comes out at any moment and say, "You're on candid camera. We're not medically transitioning kids." You dork. I mean, it's that wrong that, I mean, I don't understand why people don't get it. And the reason why they don't get it is because the mainstream media is not getting it out. You know that video that I have on my Twitter?
Yeah.
That video that has like 4 million views?
Yeah.
That had over 4 million views. Now, I've been kicked off of Twitter 6 times. Since Elon has taken over, it's the reason why we're having a shift, is that people are allowed to put their opinions up. That video just is on fire. 4 million people have watched that video. And that video was basically talking to the media, telling them, shame on you. All you're doing is calling this senator over here a bigot instead of looking at the facts. And, well, you've seen it. And would you be surprised to know that not one journalist reached out to me? Now, I did get Brittany Bailey to make fun of me, but that's it. That's it.
Well,
and so
I'm glad.
Society doesn't know what's happening.
Well, I'm really glad I reached out to you because I really was moved by that video. And I want to ask you, so what were your complications then? Because you said you almost died. What happened to you? Why did you almost die?
Well, there were some problems with the surgery. And first of all, I got my bladder nicked, one of my first surgeries. I didn't have much problem until I got to the end, and which was, blood stuff and having to be on blood thinners, and it does affect your heart and all that kind of stuff. Until I had a bottom surgery, and the bottom surgery, basically after that surgery that I now know I should have never gotten because I have blood issues. I had a pulmonary embolism that induced a stress heart attack. After that, it was actually one of the biggest heart attacks in the state of Kansas, by the way, in the state of Texas, by the way. And after that, I found out that I had a ligament sticking through my arm. I had no clue. I went to the doctor, the trans doctor, and he's like, "Oh, no, you're fine." The next day I'm in surgery for that. I go back to the doctor and, I show him something here that I have an infection in this, side where they put that tube in. He says, "Oh, you're great." I'm in an ambulance 2 days later with sepsis. Then I started to feel better. And then I started to feel like hell. And nobody could help me. I lost my insurance. My transgender surgeon in Texas, he had 9 medical malpractice cases against him in California, banned from conducting surgery in San Francisco, moves to Texas where they have a tort reform act and our governor takes millions from gender clinics. He basically, I was in and out of the hospital. He never put me in the hospital. And I spent 17 months with a reoccurring infection. And that reoccurring infection got so bad that I lost everything. That's how I lost everything. How I know it's experimental is because I had to figure out what was wrong with me first. Second of all, I had to get on state-funded insurance because I lost everything. I couldn't find anybody in the state that I was in that knew what to do with me. Oh, it's experimental. And they found that I had 6 inches of hair on the inside of my urethra. So that caused a 17-month infection. Towards the end, I was still working so I could get insurance, but I had an IV sick tube in my arm. Before I went to work, I would go get IV antibiotics for 30 days. On the weekends, I would check myself from the hospital and then check myself out because I didn't have insurance. Nobody would help me with it. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare.
And finally, so because we're running out of time, in terms of maintaining this whole thing, is there a lot of maintenance in it? Because people think you've had the surgery, now you can just go away. Or what do you have to do? Do you have to take drugs every day? We've got about a minute left. What's your...
Okay, no. As far as the surgeries, the bottom surgeries, they're notorious for bladder infections. They do become life-saving after antibiotics don't work anymore. So reoccurring bladder infections are one. Heart issues, lung issues. You have to be on synthetic hormones if you have a full, complete 100% transition. So there are enormous amounts of health issues for a process that makes mental health worse. It's like I said, I'm on candid camera. I'm waiting for him to pop out anytime.
Has it shortened your life? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely it has. Testosterone and cross-sex hormones actually shorten your life 10 to 15%. That's a fact. But I have congestive heart failure from my heart attack. I have, lung damage. I get reoccurring infections still. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to be here very long.
Do you wish you hadn't done it?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, medical transition doesn't fix anything, and unfortunately, people don't realize that. And the people with true gender dysphoria, which is a serious mental illness, those are the ones that are killing themselves at 7 to 10 years, because those are the people that are being medically transitioned for a delusion. It's the people that know it's cosmetic surgery that do halfway decent.
Okay, well, listen, if people want to follow your work and what you're doing, do you have where can they find you?
Well, TReVoices, TReVoices.org. I'm on a tour right now in the States, state to state, bill to bill, got 7 bills passed. I'm thinking of going to the UK if anybody knows how to put something together. People need to hear this. And unfortunately, yeah.
Come to the UK.
The media's not doing it.
We'll try and get it fixed, but you'll come to GBNews first, yeah? Scott, it's really good to talk to you. Thank you so much, Scott. It's really good to talk to you. Take care. We'll hopefully see you soon. Thank you very much. That is Scott Newgent. He's the founder of TReVoices. Well, on this particular issue, Stonewall have previously said most people who transition do so without any regrets. Detransitioning is very rare, but it does happen. A research analysis showed that 3,000 of the 3,398 trans patients who had appointments at an NHS gender identity service between 2016 and 17, less than 1% said in those appointments that they had experienced transition-related regret or had detransitioned. Detransition does not, in and of itself, mean regret. It can mean that a person no longer identifies as trans or feel that they now are different. They are now a different gender to the one they previously identified as. Right, so